Hello, my name is Pat, and I'd like to briefly tell you that I have been profoundly deaf since birth, and I wore 2 hearing aids all my life, and I was educated in the oral program until the 8th grade, and then I went on to mainstream at a regular high school, and then I went on to college, and I wore 2 hearing aids until I was about in my mid-40s. I started to get a lot of recommendations from people who thought I might consider getting a cochlear implant. And I thought, what? A cochlear implant? I said, no way. I said, I'm just fine. I like the hearing aids. They look okay. So, but then after I saw many kids here at CID getting the benefit from the implant, I started to have second thoughts. And finally, I went ahead and got it. So I've had 1 implant for 9 years. And it's been wonderful. Much better quality of listening. It's a lot clearer. And I can tell you more about it after you ask questions. So I can let Kathy talk.
Right, my name is Kathy Sully, and I'm proud to say that I am an alumna of Central Institute for the Deaf. And I love coming here. It's like coming back home. So, to give you a little background, I was born with about an 80 dB loss, bilateral, both ears. Reason unknown, just one of those quirks that happen. I was diagnosed at 18 months of age, and at that time the philosophy was to fit the better ear. So that ear was my right ear at that time. And if I recall correctly, there was a waiting list here at Central Institute for the Deaf. So my parents went through the John Tracy clinic and received homeschooling materials until there was an opening here at CID. I started CID, I think, when I was 4 years old, and then was mainstreamed into 2nd grade in a regular public school setting. It's been, you know, back at that time, special education was a seat in the front row back then. So I think we've come a long way since then. But I still wore the 1 hearing aid, and I wore the big box hearing aid until I was 18 years old. So, let's see, I graduated from high school, went on to college, went on to graduate school. Then, in my late 30s, I started noticing tinnitus, which is ringing of the ears. I started feeling like I couldn't hear things as well. And at that time, I was diagnosed with autoimmune inner ear disease. And one of the solutions, or one of the things that they recommended to be fit, whatever, with the cochlear implant. Like Pat, oh, I don't need that, I'm not deaf, you know. But, you know, as time went on, I eventually lost most of my residual hearing. And the tinnitus was becoming an ongoing problem. And as a medical librarian, reading can be somewhat of an occupational hazard. So I did all the research. I talked to many people here at CID. And finally, I ended up talking to Dr. Margot Skinner, who is a prominent pioneer in the field of cochlear implants. And she recommended, she said, if for any reason, get the implant as a means of masking the tinnitus. And then the decision was, well, which ear do I implant? Because I had never really worn a hearing aid in my right ear. I did for a little bit after I was diagnosed with the autoimmune, but even then it was just awful. It was just awful. And so I said, okay, Margot, that makes sense. So I went in for the implant, and that was 10 years. And let me tell you, that was a delightful surprise. And the first thing I said when I was hooked up was like, why did I wait so long? So I think my situation was a little unique because I adapted right away to the implant. The day of hookup, I was able to understand language without having to look at a face. Think about that. So it was a lifetime of deciphering talking faces, and I didn't have to do that anymore. It was a lifetime of trying to put together a linguistic puzzle, and it finally all came to pieces. I will say that the implant has not changed my life per se, but it has made things so much easier. The quality of life is much better. I can go to McDonald's and order something through the drive-through window. I can hear the bagger at the store ask if you want paper or plastic. I talk to men with mustaches now. It's just wonderful. And all the sounds that I think most people take for granted, I can hear. I'm sitting inside my house. I can hear birds and airplanes. Think about that. Boiling water. That's a wonderful sound. Your pants moving. And part of the process I did during the time of the implantation is keeping a journal. And this was my first day of hookup, and I'm going to read the little excerpt, okay? I can hear the S sound that everyone makes when they're talking. The water running to the ice maker. Computer keys clacking. Birds singing, and a host of other sounds. The world is full of sound, not silence or noise. Going to the potty certainly is loud. Tinkling does not quite describe the sound I hear, as well as my nylon coat. Yeah, going to the bathroom. Mortification. Everything I do makes a sound. My pants rustle as I walk. My shoes squeak. And eating is a source of mortification. My goodness, chewing is so loud, and all these years people must have thought I was an animal. How will I ever eat in front of people again? I'll starve to death. I haven't. I can also hear myself breathing. What other bodily sounds do I emit? I did not realize we were so loud. So that was on day one of hookup. And I was a little demanding as a patient. I had about 50 new math in the first 6 months. So I was determined to make this work, and it has worked. Worked very well. And I'm sorry to say that the hearing aid that I did wear in my right ear for a short time is in a drawer someplace that I cannot find. So I'm very happy with where I'm at. Yes.
This reminds me of what happened when I was first activated. I was very excited, but I was prepared for the worst because I was told that it's going to take a long time to get used to it. So when I went in for the activation, I did not like it. The first thing I heard was the cartoonish. It's like when you turn the TV on, all you hear the cartoon sounds. And I thought, oh boy, it's just what it's going to be like. And it took me months and months to get used to it. And with a lot of support from the staff. And friends, they're hanging there, don't give up. And finally, after the 5th month, I got used to it because the audiologist said to try to put on the hearing aid. And I thought, okay. I said, but my goal was to wear the implant. That's it, not the hearing aid. They said, give it a try. So I put it on, bingo. It worked beautifully, and I love it. So I wear both because I wore 2 hearing aids all of my life. So I need both noise stimulation. So it's been a long, long process. It's like baby steps. It takes months of patience and a lot of encouragement. And the sounds that I heard were very similar to Kathy's. Like the birds. Never heard of the birds singing for the first time. I can hear the environmental sounds. I didn't realize that when you preheat the oven, it makes the beepy sound. Oh, it's time for me to put the cookies in the oven. You know, many little things that are a big deal to me. It's like when I'm in my office in the computer room, I can hear the washer dryer go off through the basement. It just helps me get through the day without getting something that is important to me. So, my kids who are hearing, they helped me with identify the sounds that I was not very familiar. That we had homework. That was a wonderful learning experience. And to this day, I still learn a lot more new sounds by action, question.
Yeah. And I will say it's very similar, I think, to learning an entirely new language. We had to learn to associate a sound with meaning, with a word. Which, boiling water, boy, that took me about 20 minutes to figure that one out because I was home by myself. It's like, what is that? Water boiling, water boiling. But yeah, I think even though it's been 10 years for me, I still bump up every year or so. So 2 years ago, my kids got me, the things you put your music on, iPod. I listen to everything now, music, and I can actually understand the lyrics. You know, some really don't make sense when it's you know. But yeah, I mean, it's just those small, ordinary things that really make a difference. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about how long the surgery was and how your recovery was from surgery?
The surgery lasted for about 2 hours. And I stayed overnight. Everything went very well. And I went home the next day. It took me maybe 4 days.
Same here, yeah.
Feel better and go back to my normal routine. I just took very little painkillers. It wasn't too bad.
You got the painkillers? I didn't. I didn't get the painkillers. I didn't.
Sleep better.
No, I didn't get that one. But I remember when I was preparing for the surgery, you read the the patients where they submit their comments and whatnot. Some people would say, oh yeah, I ran a marathon the day after I was implanted. It's like, no way. But yeah, it was a piece of cake, the surgery, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
No.
Yeah, many of the students here, you're going to get sick. You're going to vomit. I said, oh, yeah? Oh, I hope not. But I was fine. So I let the kids talk about it, knowing that I was going to have one. So it really helped. Yeah. Any questions?
How did your family adjust to you getting the implants?
Say that again.
How did
your family adjust to you getting the implant?
They were very excited. They were very supportive. They said, I'll do what I can do for you. We did homework. We just worked together as a team. They were there for me. Yeah.
Same here. My family was very supportive. My grandparents and my parents and my husband and my children were all very supportive. And I think in some ways it was a little bit of a surprise to them because they didn't realize how much I did not hear before. Because, and I think it's because of coming here to CID. You know, I really do. CID really, really paved the way for me to where I am today, along with my parents and my grandparents. And one thing that was especially reinforced was reading. Read as early as you can, yeah. But I will say that they were a little surprised by what I couldn't hear, and then what I was able to hear afterwards. So, yeah. It's like, I remember one day we had a little dog at the time, and toenails. You ever hear a dog's toenails on the floor? And that was a source of sound I was trying to assign meaning to. And I'm like, what is that? They're just, it's like, it's our dog. And I told my husband, I said, do you realize how much noise our dog makes? Yeah, welcome to our world, you know. It's all that my family is hearing, including my husband, even though that's dubious sometimes.
When my kids became teenagers, I was able to understand their conversation, talking to their friends on the phone. And they would look at me, oh, my mom's looking at me, excuse me, I have to turn the other way. They thought I was eavesdropping. No, I was just trying to, you know,
Sure you
get a
would.
laugh. So it got better and better with time.
Do you still lip read?
Lip read, yes, but not as good as I used to.
Okay.
Because I think with the implant, listening has become more of a priority.
Okay.
I hear more and more than lip reading. My lip reading skills have gone down here a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Okay. Now, can you hear people talking behind you and then see what people are saying ahead of you?
It depends on who I'm with.
Okay.
I think I understand better with people that I know very well, like teachers of the deaf and my family members, but not the strangers.
Okay. No, not even men with mustaches? No?
No. Yeah, when I'm at the food store, at the checkout, and I'm getting money to the billboard, sometimes the cashier will say, have a good day, have a good evening. I can hear that without looking at her lips. So it's becoming something pretty common.
But don't you love that when you can hear that?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
thank you, have a good
Yeah.
day, you too. When I'm
Yeah.
checking with the money.
And it's like, whoa, I can actually hear that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Does the cochlear implant help control the loudness of your own voice?
Yes, because I noticed that when I'm not wearing the implant, my family can tell that I'm talking too loud. They say, Mom, do you have your implant on? I said, no, but I'm not going to wear it for a while because sometimes I need a break. So sometimes it's helpful when I have it on because it controls how loud I'm talking.
For me, I still have a hard time determining how loud I'm talking or how can people hear what I'm saying if I'm talking at a certain tone. So if I'm whispering, can that person over there hear me? You know, so I also have a difficulty with localizing sound. So when I give presentations at work, I always tell the audience beforehand, please raise your hand if you have a question so that I can see who's talking. So.
Do you notice a difference in your speech, or did you notice a difference in your speech after you received your cochlear implant?
Not a whole lot. I think this is something that I can't speak for myself, but I think with the implant I've had to really think twice as hard to enunciate a lot more clear because I'm able to hear the SH, the CH a lot better. So I think with self-discipline, I just have to be more aware, be more aware.
Same here, you're much more aware of the consonant sounds, especially those that are silent. But it's wonderful to hear the T's and whatnot. But yeah, you're much more aware of any mistakes or they're not called mistakes. I forget what it's called in the terminology, but you're much more aware of enunciating properly and making sure that you finish the entire word. Yeah. But I know I still talk funny. I still get people ask me, oh, what country are you from? So, this is fine.
How did you decide which cochlear implant model to implant?
Because since I work here at CID, I've talked with the audiologist. I asked for their recommendation. And I looked at the percentage of which implant had more barriers than the other one. So I just really had to think very hard. There are not a whole lot of difference. I think it's more of a personal choice. And because of my other friends that I grew up with, 5 of them that all got the cochlear implant, we all talked about it and we share our thoughts about the pros, the cons. So I think with a group of people that I knew very well, that's how I decided to get the Cochlear.
Same here. I did the research. I talked to the audiologist, and they had the most experience with the model that I'm wearing, so I went with that. But like Pat said, I think they're all equal. They're all equal. It's what you put into it that makes the difference. And I think you have that window the first 3 to 6 months where your brain, you have that plasticity, and if you don't use it, you lose it.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, it makes a difference. You have to keep that little guy in for hours. As much as you want to take it out those first couple of weeks, it's important to keep that in as long as possible.
You mentioned that sometimes you would take your implant off, and I'm just wondering, does it make you tired?
Yes, because I've been working with kids all day long, with a lot of noise around here, and talking with hearing people all day long. I do get tired at the end of the day. So it's nice to go home to a peaceful, quiet house. Because now I'm in an empty nester. So it's a nice change of pace. Yes.
I take mine out at night. I don't know how you people sleep at night. Because when I go out of town on business, I have to keep it in because I'm staying in a room by myself. I don't sleep. There's so many noises at night. It's crazy. So I don't know how these people sleep at night.
What sounds do you not enjoy with your cochlear implant?
It's when I go into a room and there's a very bad echo coming from everywhere. The voices, the sound bouncing off the wall, the echo. It's very annoying and it bothers me a lot because sometimes I have difficulty understanding people talking.
I have an example from today. This morning, I was at the dentist. The drill is not a sound that I like. Let me tell you that. Yeah. Oh, this morning, I had to go to the dentist. The drill is not a sound that I like. Yeah. People blowing their noses. I could never hear that before. People eating, if they're eating really loud, and let's see, when you're driving your car and it's snowy, you know that sound that the snow makes when it hits your car. What else? Oh, when you're in the store shopping, you hear all these people talking on their cell phone. They talk about nothing. It's like, but I'm very appreciative of what I can hear. So, but the drill is whatever. I can live without that one.
What is the process of determining if someone is a good candidate for a cochlear implant?
What is the process for determining if someone is a candidate for the implant? Is that correct?
Yes.
You have to have an audiology evaluation, a medical evaluation with an ENT and a CT for in a year to make sure the cochlear is okay. And a psychiatric evaluation. And also have a cochlear implant team meeting that are on the same page about pieces getting an implant.
And I think the purpose for all of that is to make sure that anyone who is getting an implant is prepared for that reality and that their expectations are in proportion with the outcome. I know for me, it took me 5 years because I am a prelingual. And if you read the literature, prelinguals do not typically do as well as those who lost their hearing later in life. So that's just to make sure your expectations are appropriate.
Was your surgery expensive? Is it covered by insurance?
Yes, it's very, very expensive. It was over $30,000. But
This was 10
years
years
ago.
ago.
and the insurance be covered. Everything except I have to pay for copay. And I have to pay for each therapy, pre and post therapy. And it's not cheap, but it's worth it. So if you have good health insurance,
Yes.
then you should be okay.
Yeah. And I think the therapy afterwards is essential and it's crucial to ensure a good outcome. But I also think therapy that can be done by yourself in a realistic, in an actual real-life environment is also crucial, meaning listening to the radio in your car with noise around. You know, you're not in an artificial situation with speech therapists or whatnot. Listening to books on tape is essential so that you can learn to assign meaning to different words and whatnot. So, yeah, but the rehab is definitely essential. I know of people who have received the implant and now have gone back for the rehab afterwards, and I think they regret that. They regret that.
Yeah, speaking of rehab, it's important that you follow through with your mapping. It's something that we have to remember. It's like a yearly checkup, basically. But with the implant, it's important that you go and have it checked. Because the brain is getting used to all the sounds. So,
Yeah, for example, my first day of the hookup, I went to the grocery store and I got the plastic bag. The sound of the plastic bag, I couldn't bear it. You know, the plastic bag that crinkled. So I went back in the next day, and because I worked right down the street, I was able to hop over and say, this is what I want you to change this frequency, you know, whatever. And so they did. And then I would go back in a week later and say, now make it louder, you know, or tweak this program. So, you know, I was a little demanding, but it was well worth it. Well worth it.
there were a lot of noises that were very annoying, and I had to work so hard to tune out, psychologically. So it took a lot of time to tune out the sound. Like when I was driving, and I had the blinker, and I didn't know where that was coming from. And I said to my son, I said, what's that noise? He said, oh, Mom, that's the blinker. I said, oh, my goodness. You know, it's because I use the blinker every day. It's not a problem anymore.
And do you hear it anymore? Do you hear it?
I hear it, but I don't.
You don't register it? Yeah. You know, that's your brain telling you it's not necessary. You don't need to hear it. Just like the plastic bags, I don't hear that anymore. No. But I know it's there, but I don't hear it.
Would you ever consider getting a second implant?
I'm thinking of getting one someday. That's been in the back of my mind. Because I wore 2 hearing aids all my life. Therefore, it's important that I have noise stimulation of the second year. So, it's in the works right now.
Yet to be determined. I think I hear pretty good now, so why chance it? But then again, I said that before I got the implant. And this, in theory, is my better ear. And I chose my left ear because of the handedness concept. There is such a theory, believe it or not, if you look in PubMed, that if you can't decide, you go with the hand that is your dominant hand, and you choose that ear. And this has always been the worst ear, so I wonder sometimes what it would feel like in this ear, but yet to be determined.
Can you wear the implant when you play sports?
I don't play sports, but I know a lot of people do wear the implant when they play sports. However, if they have contact sport, like playing soccer, they do wear some kind of a special helmet too. I'm not sure. You know what? They have a special ear. It's like a mouthpiece of the ear, special cover. But what about football? I'm not sure.
Oh, I think you have to wear the helmet. That is required.
Yeah, I think today things are better with protection. Yes.
Well, I play softball. I wear my implant. I go on roller coasters that go around and around. Never lost an implant yet. I play soccer, you know, walk, I bike ride, never had a problem. Never had a problem.
Yeah, I do other things, but with the humidity, it bothers me. Sometimes I don't wear them. I want to take good care of them. Even though I do have a dry box, but still, yeah.
I abuse mine pretty much, but it's held up 10 years now.
Sometimes I like the peace and quiet, so I need a break. So I have a choice to decide which is important.
Yeah, and I think we have the best of both worlds.
I agree.
Yeah, we do, yeah. We can take the baby out and not do a thing.
That's right.
Yeah, and sleep at night. Sleep at night. Yes.
Even though it's been several years, do you still find yourself hearing more and more things? You still getting more benefit?
Yes, a lot more benefit. But it's always been a very slow process. I just love it. I just can't explain it. It's wonderful because I hear better, it's clear, and it just made my life a lot better. Yeah.
And to answer your question, it comes in plateaus for me. Just when I think I've reached everything possible, it's like, whoa! You know, it's like, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I was listening to the radio. And usually it has to be a conscious effort. It was like, yeah, the weather was like, oh, I understood that, you know, in listening to music, hearing the lyrics. It's like, yeah, I heard that, you know. But then again, I will listen to the same song over and over until I recognize everything that is being said, except there's one song that I haven't tackled yet, so we'll get there. But yeah, you do reach plateaus, but then you bump, it gets bumped up, if you will. Yes.
When I go out in the ocean, I just love to hear the nature. I can hear the leaves, making all the noise, the waves, the birds. I appreciate nature more than ever. Yeah, I hear the sounds. It's amazing. Yeah.
Birds are loud. Birds can be loud.
Yeah. The crickets. Something that I'm not crazy about, especially in the summertime. Yeah, I remember asking my family, I said, what is that noise? They said, that's the cricket. I thought, wow, we do live in a very loud world.
We do.
So, it's still a process. Yeah.
I would say, as teachers, anyone in the audience who's a teacher of the deaf, or a speech pathologist working with hearing impaired children, my recommendation would be to treat them as if they were anyone else. Don't set your expectations lower for them just because they are hearing impaired. In fact, set your standards higher. I know when I was in school, and I knew a teacher felt sorry for me, slam dunk A, you know. I had an A in that class, you know. But I think you should set the bar a little bit higher for them. And I will say that as teachers or speech pathologists, you do make a difference. I do remember all of my teachers here. Dr. Audrey Ann Simmons Martin was the first parents as teachers. What is the program here? Parents as Teachers program here at CID. And she was one of my first teachers I had. And the one thing that she would always do with children walking in the hallways is, she said, you come with me. And she would say, tell me something about today. And I would say, well, and she said, stop right there. You never start a sentence with the word well. And I've always remembered that. And then you have Mary Lou Kokebeck, who was just as wonderful, Mary Singleton, and Dr. Marie Smith. I just remember all of my teachers reinforcing that same concept. So, do you remember any of your teachers?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful teachers.
Yeah.
had a lot. I can't remember, but I do remember one particular teacher. She was a professional dancer. And she always to feel good about yourself, except for who you are. You are you. You know, don't compare yourself with other people. That's because of what other people may think who you might be. So I just had a very positive upbringing. I think it all begins at the home.
Oh, yeah.
Mom and Dad, the school staff. It's a two-way street. Not just the school alone. It's a two-way street.
We were both very fortunate
yeah.
to have parents. I never got special treatment, did you? I mean,
No.
I got in trouble just like
Yeah.
all my other siblings.
Just like the other four hearing siblings.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of the five. And my parents treated me just like everybody else. I got
Yeah.
trouble, I was grounded, just like one of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. Same here. Same here.
So, no difference.
Yeah. No different. The expectations were just as high for me as they were for anyone else. So,
So,
yeah, unfortunately, but.
okay.
Well, thank you. This has been a nice presentation.
Mm-hmm.